Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with Dr. Hlscc, the chairman of the 25th anniversary celebration, and of course the director of the Virgin Islands Studies Institute at Hlscc Community College. Dr. Hlscc, good to see you, my brother.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes. We don't get a chance to hang out on the air often enough. I know you got so much information to bring to the public, and we really need to get that information out, so we're going to have to make it our business to come on the air a little more often.
Well, you see, the thing with me is you just have to put me on the spot and say, come.
Yeah.
And then I'll show up.
I know this is my fault. I know this is my fault. I know you're ready.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is a really big year for Hlscc Community College, and it's come a long way. Perhaps you could just give us, I don't know how much of a background you're able to give us about where Hlscc Community College come from. We hear a lot of anecdotes about the people who were against it, people who were for it. We didn't think it was going to succeed. We didn't think we needed it. Talk to us a little bit about that briefly.
Well, if we start talking about the history of tertiary education in the Virgin Islands, I think we have to flash back a little as it relates to Mr. Stout and his vision. And we can flash back a bit to secondary education and his move to develop the whole concept of a comprehensive education and, quote unquote, to say, well, universal secondary within the Virgin Islands. And it seems like in terms of progress, that once that was achieved, that the next step would have been, in fact, how do we now look at tertiary education? And, we note that Mr. Stout started talking about a college for the Virgin Islands as early as about 1981, thereabout. And some work started at that point, but then after he was not returned as chief minister for a period, everything went quiet. And he came back in as chief minister after that period and then picked up where he left off. And the whole process then got started all over again, and we saw the college being formally opened in 1990. So this year we are celebrating 25 years of the establishment of H.L. Stout Community College. And as a part of that celebration, we have a theme which is touching lives, building the nation. Because we are now looking at the role and function of H.L. Stout Community College in the Virgin Islands. What is our role, what have we been doing, and what it is we intend to do or continue to do in the future. And we see the key role, as based on our team, is that the role of the college is to touch lives, individuals within the Virgin Islands community. And our whole goal overall is to build a nation. So we see ourselves as an integral part of the nation building. And that is our theme for our celebration, which we hope would spread out for this whole year. We started in January with more, we would say, a bit more in-house kind of celebration that involved the students on the campus and staff and students, the faculty, and the Board of Governors, and a few other invited persons who came in and joined with us. But we started on Founders Day, which was January 14th. Mm-hmm. And at that date, we celebrated the memory and the establishment of H.L. Stout Community College. That's the day when the college was officially started. So it's always recorded as Founders Day in the life of the college. Now, our next major activity that we are working towards now is on the 1st of March. Now, we just spoke with Ms. Hlscc and she talked about the celebrations on the 2nd. Mm-hmm. Which is the official celebration of government commemorating Mr. Stout on his birthday, which is the first Monday in March. But throughout the years, while that celebration continued, the family actually gathers at the Zion Hill Methodist Church and participate in the worship service at Zion. And that has been happening over the years. This year, as a part of our celebrations, we thought that it would be good for the college community to worship in community. A lot of the activities that we are planning, as I said, we started out with our Founders Day ceremony at the college, which was in the college, in-house, involving the persons on campus, as it were. Now, we see a lot of our other activities taking us into the community because we feel that that is where we should be in terms of the reach of the college. So we thought that one of the best things for us to do was to celebrate in community, to worship with a church in the community. And we thought about that long and hard, and we thought that that particular Sunday would be a good day because we do two things. We celebrate 25 years of the college's existence, and we also celebrate the legacy of Mr. Stout. And we celebrate that on that weekend. The family, as I said, usually gather at Zion Hill Methodist Church, take part in the worship service on the Sunday, and we are doing just that. So we are joining with the family and inviting the public at large to join with us at Zion Hill to be a part of that worship service.
And he was a Methodist.
He was a Methodist, and in fact,
it was Zion Hill's church.
At Zion Hill. There. When we thought about that, we figured, well, if we were going to do it that weekend, there was nowhere else we could do it but Zion Hill Methodist Church. Mr. Stout was a steward at the Zion Hill Church. He was a local preacher, and he taught Sunday school at Zion Hill, ran youth groups and youth fellowships and youth junior choirs. So he was integral in part of the service in terms of the church community at Zion. I've had the privilege of growing up in the community and being a part of the Zion Hill Methodist Church and being there with Mr. Stout and knowing exactly, his impact that he had on the community through the church. So we thought that we would join with the family on that Sunday. So that service is on the 1st of March.
And that's going to start early in the morning?
It's an early morning service. It's at 7:30 a.m. It's their regular service. The first Sunday in the month at Zion is a 7:30 a.m. service. And so we are joining in that service. We have sent out invitations to persons in the community, his supporters, government officials. All those invitations are now going out, and we are inviting persons to come and be a part of that service. From the college and the family, we would be participating in the worship service. The choir from the college or young people would be participating. We would have readers who from the family and also from the college community. And we would be taking and having an integral part in the service. So we are inviting persons to come and join with us on that day.
And of course, the plan is to have a full year of celebrations.
Full year of celebrations.
Perhaps
yes.
Every month or every other month, but certainly you want to keep the memory or the celebration of the 25th anniversary of the college continuously in the minds of the public through various activities and celebrations. Can you give us a list of what you have planned so far?
Some of the things that we have looked at, we again, as it relates to the community and being a part of what is happening in the community, we are also looking at participating in the festivals. So the Easter Festival is the next activity that is coming up in Virgin Gorda. As you know, we have a campus on Virgin Gorda. So we are hoping to put a float in to their Easter Festival parade where we depict the history of the college from its inception to date, information about the college so that persons can see the part that we have, that the college didn't just happen. Mm-hmm. It was a process, and that process was at times slow, but it grew. And to this point where we are now, 25 years later, is far removed from where we were when the college first started. So we're hoping to have a float in the parade, the Easter parade in Virgin Gorda. We want to participate also in the August Festival parade here on Tortola, and we're hoping that that would be a bigger entry. And so that we can show the community in terms of the college and show the presence of the college. We are hoping to do several other activities, some of which we are still discussing, some of which would be fundraising activities that we can raise funds for specific projects within the college during that time. to involve the alumni from the college, persons who've come to the college, that they can participate in activities in terms of their contribution given back to the college. We are looking at doing an activity that would take us back, following the footsteps, as it were, of the focus group that Mr. Stout had established, to go into the community to discuss their ideas as to whether or not the community as a whole in the Virgin Islands wanted a community college. So we are still ironing that out as to how we would do it, but we want to go back into the community and showcase some of the stuff that we are doing at the college, to show what we are doing, and also to get input from the community in terms of what else we can do to bring, what the needs of the community. We are hoping to do a fair, an education fair, that would include, where you can have persons coming from the community, different organizations come in and displaying from, well, I should say, first internally from the college, different departments within the college, giving demonstrations about some of the things that we do at H.L. Stout Community College, so that the community can come and see what is on offer. But also at the same time to sort of tie it to, like with a job fair, where we get businesses within the community who can also come in and host a fair. And this would be focused more particularly on our students, so that they can have opportunities to see what is out there in terms of jobs that are available. Those students who are graduating this year, that they can have an opportunity to go through a job fair and have prospects of employment through that kind of context. So those are some of the things that we're hoping that we can do during this year, but it's a full year celebration, and as we go, more information would be shared with the community as a whole.
Now, touching lives, building a nation. Certainly the college has come a long way over the past 25 years, and my observation, and perhaps it would be good for you to speak to this, is that the college has successfully changed the culture of the territory in terms of the progression of education. And what I mean by that is, I remember you come out of secondary school, and those who could afford to go to, whose parents could afford to send them to college, or who were bright enough to get a scholarship, would go overseas, usually to the University of the West Indies and to American University, to further your education. And others would go into the job market. It seems now, because of the advancement of the college, actually the stature that has been developed around the college, because certainly the college has progressed in terms of the credits taken at the college being easily transferable through various articulation agreements and relationships forged with international universities. So now it's easier for graduates to come from Hlscc and transition into international universities. Yeah. That seems to have changed the pattern of coming out of high school and mostly going to look for a job. It seems like more and more young people now are not thinking about work after high school. They're thinking of furthering their education. Yeah. I consider that to be a major impact of Hlscc Community College.
Well, it's in terms of the overall legacy and vision of Mr. Stout, that when we look at it, and history would be very kind to him, when we look at the development of this territory, we were an agrarian society. The main focus within the Virgin Islands was fishing and farming. And our secondary school at the time catered to a small minority of students coming through the education system. Then the economy of the Virgin Islands changed, and we went into tourism. Now, how do you prepare a people who were focusing more in terms of an agrarian society? How do you prepare these people now to deal with a service industry in terms of tourism? And that was a major leap forward. So in order to do that, you see, Mr. Stout, then once they've started the wheels in motion in terms of the economy, then you see him pushing for a comprehensive education system. A comprehensive education system that then brought in a wider context in terms of education and preparing persons for a wider job market. Then we see that same thing happening again when we started moving into financial services. And you move into financial services, so a basic secondary education is no longer enough for the job market. And that was the key to it. So how do you now prepare a people to be able to fill positions within this wider context, an international now base in terms of financial services? And so we saw the development of a community college. And what the college has done is that the college now has brought us to a level where the majority of our students coming out of secondary school can have a tertiary education. So the fact that having a high school diploma is what is required for entry level into a job is no longer necessary. The requirements are now a associate degree.
Yeah.
You know, so that has created, it has brought us a step higher, because only a small number of persons, and if we look at our history and we look at our development, we would see that this was a remarkable move.
Yes,
in the 40s, in the early 40s, the 30s, the 40s, there's very few people in the Virgin Islands who had access to secondary education. At that time, the standard was the 7 standard certificate.
Yes.
If you had a 7 standard, you were good. You know, because then not many people moved on to secondary education. To get secondary education, you had to go to St. Thomas, you had to go to St. Kitts or to Antigua. Now, when that changed, then the requirements were now a high school diploma. And so as we moved on now to the point with the Hlscc Community College, where there's open access to everyone, the standard is now an associate degree. So the whole culture has changed over the years.
Well, and what I'm looking at now is the fact that the college is poised now to even greater advancement through the accreditation process that is nearing completion. And perhaps you could speak a little bit about what that means, what an accredited college means for the people of the territory, but just as importantly, for the people in the region, and how can we move into an expanded market by virtue of the fact that now we are a college or institution that it can be said have international are at an international standards level.
I think what Hlscc Community College is doing is literally stepping out of the mold, as it were. As a British base institution, we are now moving into a whole different realm in terms of accreditation. Most persons who come to Hlscc Community College will sooner or later realize that we follow more in terms of an American model. The British model, where I was in the UK, where colleges, you go in and you write your A-levels and different certificates from different examination bodies, which is a totally different thing to the associate level that is offered here at Hlscc Community College. So the college is now blazing a whole new trail in terms of the Caribbean context, where we, I think, are recognizing, yes, while we still have that traditional British model of education, that the trust now is more towards the US market. How do we then prepare our young people who can go into US institutions and fit in and develop? We had a student assembly today where we had some young people who were talking about their experiences at Hlscc Community College, and coming out of college, the credits that they had attained, 60 credits, were all transferred, and hence were able to finish their degree in 2.5 years, as opposed to another institution where you would have to have done 4 years. So the college is sort of positioning itself into something great in terms of accreditation. And I think if we are able to attain accreditation at Hlscc Community College, then we set a different standard altogether. We set a new standard.
And of course, this allows us now to accept students
Yeah.
from other countries in the region, and especially if we have specialty offerings here, like marine science,
Yeah.
having a great marine environment to study. Certainly, that affords us an opportunity to generate revenue, additional revenue through the college, and help the college to become independently sustainable.
Yeah. But I think that there's no limit as to where we can go. A lot of it requires us to be creative and to look at not the impossible, but look at possibilities and to always be open. So I think, over the years, as we've said, the college from its inception to now, after 25 years, I think we have grown quite a bit, and we want to celebrate that this year. We want to celebrate that accomplishment from a humble beginning, an idea. Someone who it was thought that it was a weird idea. Why would you want to have a college here? People with goodwill and good going off to get a good education. So why do it here? But we've seen that idea has grown, and our goal this year is to celebrate that so that the community can understand what it means to have a tertiary level institution within the Virgin Islands and how that is to benefit everyone in the Virgin Islands.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for us to really get a good understanding, as you say, of the important role that Hlscc South Community College has played in the development of the nation, the building of the nation, the touching of the lives. There are many, many persons coming out of Hlscc South Community College who have taken their rightful places as fire chiefs, as doctors, as lawyers, engineers, architects, contractors. I mean, the college has graduated a good cohort of persons who are now serving the community, hence the theme, building the nation, touching lives, yes. Building the nation. Yeah. We're going to take a break and come back with Dana Lewis Ambrose and Dean Bernardine Louis for the Center for Professional Development and Community Education to talk about the offerings. But I want you to give you the last opportunity before we take the break to mention anything I forgot to ask you.
Well, I would just want to reiterate in terms of Sunday the 1st of March, the worship service at Zion Hill Methodist Church, which is at 7:30 a.m. And we are inviting the general public, those persons who can come and join with the family. We celebrate the memory of H.L. Stout, but at the same time, we feel that from the college end that we want to support the family also. They were the ones that had, as we say, had loaned Mr. Stout to us.
Yes.
And sadly, we took him for ourselves. We took him all over, But Mr. Stout has meant a lot to us, and we cannot forget his family in the process. And we thought that this is a good opportunity for us to support them in their attempt to worship and celebrate his life. And so I want to invite persons to come and join with us on Sunday the 1st at the Zion Hill Methodist Church.
Dr. Smith, thank you very much for hanging out with me on Spotlight, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. We could talk about a whole set of developments with national sites, cultural heritage sites, the history of the Virgin Islands. I know you got an in-depth knowledge of the history of the Virgin Islands that we all need to know and learn and know, and all the places and things that's happening in and around us. We need to get that information from you. So I'm hoping to have you back shortly. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, we're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. We can come back with Dean Bernardine Louis and Coordinator Dana Lewis Ambrose of the Center for Professional Development and Community Education right after these words from our sponsors. Keep it locked right here to Spotlight.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands and CCT Global Communications.